Good morning, everyone. My name is Praveen, and I'm one of the consultants here at Manage Engine. First of all, I thank you very much for registering for this webinar and also for being a part of it. Very good morning to one and all of you. So before we get into what we're going to talk about today, get into the core agenda, can you take a couple of seconds and let me know if you can hear me better and if you can see my screen better using the chat option? That'll be awesome. Awesome. Thanks much for that. Great. So, today we're going to talk about a product in our suite of products that is AD Audit Plus. And in specific, we're going to talk about a particular feature within that product that is user behavior analytics, right? So the whole point is like you guys, the audience, either you will be, an IT admin who wants to leverage the options of your network completely, want to be on top of all the changes happening, want to secure your complete Active Directory entire network over there. That's number one. Or you might be an auditor, who wants to understand like everything that is happening in an environment, like get reports and all of those stuff. So that's what Manage Engine AD Audit Plus is all about, right? Because I can see most of you guys, are not customers. I can see only a couple of customers over here. So this is the database, this is the dashboard of AD Audit Plus. So the tool is all about, reading the logs from your Windows machines, from your domain controllers, from any Windows machines within your environment. It can talk to them in real time, collect the logs, bring them back, and store them in a centralized database. Because when coming to auditing, you have like two main pain points over there, right? It's just two main pain points. Number one is a centralized storage of logs over there, right? So that AD Audit solves it for you. And number two, understanding what's happening in real time. So if you want to go through all those GBs and GBs of data, like understand what exactly happened. Let's say, for example, how many guys, failed the authentication in my domain today, and how many of them were admins. So you have all these options over here listed over here itself. Or let's say, you just want to have a great understanding of everything that happens in your environment, right? From an authentication to any configuration change, might be a schema extension, FSM role being moved from one DC to one other, whatever it might be. You have all of those listed in one single report over here. If you look at it, we'll understand all these now, right? From the authentication to any configuration changes happening on your on-prem Active Directory, and a few reports for your cloud, your Azure as well. So all of them listed in one single window. And the best part is you can get them, you can get it, get this one as the report on a daily basis at 5 a.m. in the morning. So you understand what exactly is happening in your domain, on every day morning over there. Right. Please excuse me, like, I'm just a little bit under weather, so I'm so sorry about it. I think, Al, can you hear me? Can others hear me? I think one of our customers thinks that he's not able to hear me. Can you guys hear me? Awesome. Perfect. Great. Then let's continue. Great. So, before getting any forward, I'll if in case anybody has some problem in audio or anything, just do ping me over there. And if in case you get any questions, use the Q&A option. Send the questions across. I have one of my teammates to assist you with the question, or I will assist you during the session. And if in case we miss out something, I apologize for that in advance, but I'll make sure I'm getting in touch with you once the session is over, right? And again, the session will be recorded, and you guys will be receiving the recording in a couple of days' time. Right. So with no further ado, so we were talking about the summary report over here. So you get an understanding about every single thing that is happening in your Active Directory in one single report. That's summary view for you. And again, I'm just brushing through the features because this is not the main agenda for today. I'm just telling you what the product is capable of doing, right? So when coming to reporting, reports tab over here, the product has predefined reports. Like we have more than 250 plus canned reports available in the product to tell you about every single thing that is happening on your Active Directory. Let's say, you want to understand about the authentication failures happening in your domain, you have like some 7+ reports over here telling you what exactly happened, who failed the authentication, like from which machine the authentication failure came in from, what's the reason for that, and on top of that, it helps you analyze the problem as well. Let's say you have frequent account lockouts, frequent logon failures. The product scans the computer, scans the source of the authentication failure, tells you which process was the reason for this failure as well. So it gives you a great hand when dealing with frequent account lockouts and all this stuff over there. And not only that, we also track the local logons, happening on individual machines over there. So you want to understand what's happening on a critical application servers over there. What are all the computers your admin users are logging in? So we track the local logons happening. Either it will be like interactive, remote interactive, cache interactive, batch file execution, service startups, whatever it might be. We track all those kinds of logons over there. Let it be ADFS logons, anything. So we got you covered on all those sides over there, right? And apart from that, as I said earlier, we track every single change that is happening on your Active Directory, right? From user creation to user deletion, let's say password never expire, flag being raised over there, people being added to groups, removed from groups, your groups, attributes getting modified, every single thing over there. You can see all the objects, whatever we can get the reports over here. And coming to GPOs, because that's one main thing for you guys, right? Because you have tons of settings on GPOs, you would want to understand what's exactly happening over there. We have reports which can tell you which setting among those 5,000 plus, was exactly modified. And we can also get you the old and the new values as well over there. So we have got you covered all, with all these reports over here. There'll be a file order thing. We can track and let you know what's happening on your Windows file servers, your NAS devices over there, all these options. So this is what AD Audit Plus is all about, right? So it collects the data. It gives a neat understanding, through a dashboard with the summary view. It lets you access the independent reports, through the reporting tab over there. On top of that, it has options where it can drop your notifications whenever something, important happens, or whenever something which you're interested in happens. Let's say you want to understand when your domain admin logs onto a normal workstation, which is in a different OU. Yes, you can create that. So we have predefined alert profiles, like close to 50 plus predefined alert profiles over there. But if you want to create, yes, the product lets you do that as well. You can choose what is that you want to be alerted for, and you can just create a simple alert profile in a couple of clicks over there. So this is what mainly AD Audit Plus is all about. Right. But again, now comes the UBA, because we all know how important, and UBA, I would say, UBA is one of the things which is very important in today's market, in today's world, right? Because like attacks are evolving. Let's say with this traditional software, let's say AD Audit Plus, it's a traditional tool, whatever I've showed you all this time. Let's say a brute force happens, right? Yes, the product can help you with that. Because brute force, password spray. Let's take a simple example for this session, right? Let's imagine a brute force is happening. A malware just got implanted on a computer, on anyone's computer over there, and it's just trying to hack inside the domain by a trial and error method over there, by finding the password of a user account. Yes, this traditional software can help you. You can just choose, all user logons over there. Let me just show you. Now, what I'm doing is I'm telling the product what it has to do when a brute force gets detected over there. I'm telling the product to drop me a notification whenever an authentication happens on my domain controller, and I'm not interested in the successful event happening over there. So I'm filtering and telling the product to let me know only when a failure happens, right? And again, I'm not interested in every single failure. So I'm putting a threshold, might be 10 times in 1 minute. And if it happens for the same user account, or if it happens for multiple people, but all of them coming from one single IP address, then this could mean that it is a brute force, right? Or a password spray assumption, right? So in this case, the product will drop you an email, but will not stop right with that. You can call custom script files over here. Let's say, for example, I have a PowerShell command, which can disable an AD account and can shut down a computer. Let's say, for example, what will happen is when my account gets compromised, the product will drop my admin an email, but at the same time, it'll call that particular batch file and it'll pass these variables to that particular batch file. Let's say, an IP address and a username. So what will happen is the batch file will disable my AD account and it will shut down the computer. So the product helps you stop an attack right at the point when it's happening over there. Awesome. So the product does that. So most of the tools will do this. And again, AD Audit Plus as a traditional tool will do this for you. But again, in today's world, as we all know, attacks are evolving, right? Insider threat has become, a biggest pain point for us. And we all have read Microsoft articles, right? So, until we see actually a full-blown attack, we do not even realize that our domain is under attack. The average time, is close to 30 to 45 days. That's the minimum what I'm talking about, right? So that's when what will happen when something when an anomaly happens in our domain. The traditional software cannot help you with that, right? So that's when the UBA comes into the picture, user behavior analytics, and as the name suggests, this guy will talk to, we'll just, let's take an example. Let's take again a simple example. We did see about brute force and a password spray, all these options. Let's take another common attack that is NTDS.dit extraction. So what I do is, I just take a shadow copy of the entire C volume of your Active Directory. I take a copy of your Active Directory database along with the private keys. And all I have to do is run it through a Python script, and I'll get them in clear text format over there, right? So now I'll have your administrator's username and password in clear text format. So I do not have to, put in a wrong password again. So it's not a brute force, or it's not a, it's not a password spray over here. It's going to be a legit attack, right? So in this case, how the product can help you? How does this user behavior analytics work? How is it going to find the anomaly, and how much you can leverage this feature? So that's what we're going to see right now. Right. So what will happen is, let's say you install the tool today in your domain. For the next 7 days, this guy will not be giving you any information, but on the background, it will be listening for every single event that is being collected. So we create another separate engine, for this UBA, and every information that is being collected and processed inside the product will go through, a copy of that will go through this engine as well. So it'll keep storing that. And on the 8th day morning at, let's say 4 o'clock, it'll crunch all the data. And at 5 o'clock, it'll set a baseline for every single user object, right? So, and this baseline will get evolved. The product, the more number of days you have the product installed inside the domain, and, the more number of devices you configure within, the more number of log sources you feed inside the product, the UBA will work better. It is directly proportional to the count and the number of days it lives inside your domain, right? So once it has set a baseline for the user object, let's say, for example, my colleague John, right? So now the product knows that John logs in only from Monday through Friday, just during the business hours over there. And number two, he logs in only from John's PC. And number three is, he touches like let's say 10 files to the maximum from an IT folder, not more than that. So now the product knows all these options over there. And again, let's say, I just made the NTDS with the IT extraction, and I have John's username and password. So what's going to happen is, let's say, I just wake up on a Saturday morning. I put in the username and password, a clean username and password, right? There is no way that a traditional software can find that this is an attack, right? But what's going to happen is, when compared with the baseline, what the product has created, John doesn't log in on a Saturday morning, right? So now this is going to be treated. This is going to be triggered as an anomaly, and the product is going to drop my admin an email the same way an alert, whatever we have created, right? So if you go here, under view modified alert profiles. So we have close to, close to 58 alert profiles, just for the product alone. If we look here, we'll understand unusual activity of log on, time-based and account-based. So we have multiple predefined alert profiles for all these options. So when I log in with John's user account on a Saturday morning, that will be captured as an anomaly, and, an email will be sent to my admin. And at the same point, what it can do is, as I showed you earlier, you can call the script files over there. You can disable John's account. You can shut down Praveen's computer. That's where, the authentication is coming in from, right? So you can do that. So that attack is stopped right at the point when it started. Well, let's say, for example, like, the second option, let's say I'm logging in on a Wednesday when John is also working over here. That will also be captured as an anomaly because of the host-based baseline, because John has never ever tried to log in from Praveen's PC earlier. That also will be triggered as an anomaly. Again, an email sent out. You can call the batch file. You can block it from happening. All these options over there. right? So now the third one, let's say, for example, we all work from office, right? We started working from office, let's say. John just left his computer unattended. So I'm sitting in front of his computer and I'm trying to exfiltrate some data. The moment I touch the 11th file over there, that will be tagged as an anomaly as well. And again, an email will be sent out. It's the admin, the patch file, all the same options over there. So what do we do exactly over here is we set baselines, a major 3 baselines over there for the users. Number one will be your based on the hours, business hours. And the second one will be based on, the host activity. And the third one will be based on the count, right? So these are the 3 major baselines, what the product revolves around. The UBA revolves around over here. And we have the same, alert profiles for the same activities over here, the same profiles as well. So let's say, once we're done with that, let me put it like that. That's the outline of how the analytics function and how we can leverage it, like how it can help you. That's just one simple example. We'll summarize all these 3 options, right? But if you're looking over here, you have 2 options. Under analytics, you have 2 things. Number one is anomalies, and then the second one is risk assessment. So anomalies is what we were speaking all this time. The product can tell you, either send you notifications and also give you reports as well, unusual activities, summary by type. You can understand how many counts of unusual activities this guy has made, all the thresholds that has been breached over there, anomalous log on activities. So this is what we have been speaking all this time. But the second one is risk assessment. The whole point is, why wait until an anomaly happens? Assess the risk that is available in your domain right now so you can stop an attack from happening tomorrow. That's the main point, right? So this guy will, again, the same info, just go through all the data that is available inside the database, and it'll tell you what it feels as risks within your domain. For example, users connected to most number of assets, right? So let's say, for example, Harry, let him be my admin or not, a normal user account. He has laid his footprint on 30 different computers over here. So and in the last, let's say it's the last 24 hours. So it might be wrong or it might be correct, but again, you will have to take some actions over there. That's the whole point, right? So you can understand, who is the most hyperactive account in your domain. So you can choose all these categories over here, whatever you want to understand, and you can just hit run. The product will, again, crunch the data. It'll get you the information over there. Log on time on most, log on time based on use. So you get all these options. You get the count, why these guys were tagged as, hyperactive guys. You get all these options over there. Accounts with, high percentage of log on failure. You can get all these. Okay, let me see if I can get some data. I do not have. Likewise, you get the point, right? So this is what risk assessment is all about, right? And let's say, for example, the product also gives you some backtracking options over here. Let's say you found out that Harry has latest footprint on 30 different computers. You ask Harry, he denies it or whatever happens, right? Now, the big point is, you want to understand if something has happened to Harry's account, if someone tampered Harry's account over there. That's your main question number 1. And question number 2 is, what are all the damage that was done by Harry's account? So pretty much, you want to entirely understand what has happened to Harry's account, who was responsible for it, and at the same time, what are all the actions happen in your domain through Harry's account. So you'll have to get all these options over there, right? And that's just not a simple report. The requirement itself is actually pretty big, but you can get it if you're if you're a pro in PowerShell. But the product makes it pretty simple for you. If you just click on the search icon over here and put in Harry's account, it'll just pull the object from your Active Directory. Click on the account and choose the time frame for whatever you're looking at the report for. And what will happen is, I just not too sure if I have some data. So what will happen is, the product will pull all the report from the database for Harry, for the time frame, whatever you're choosing over there, and it'll get you one single report, in one single window, the logon activity for Harry, that is, let it be an authentication or a local logon in any machine in the domain. You get all this info, the actions done on Harry's account, and the actions done by Harry's account. This is a global demo site, so it's a little bit slow. I'm happy we just died today. Sorry about it. So you get all this info in one single window, right? And because that's what auditing is all about, right? So the product collects all these info, brings them back into one single database for you. It'll let you access all those whenever you have a requirement. A single click in the reporting tab will get you all these info over there. And not just that, the product has the option to alert you whenever something bad happens. And on top of that, the product also has the options to detect anomalies happening in your domain, and it also has the option to drop you notifications trigger script files which can block that from happening as well, right? So this is what user behavior analytics within AD Audit Plus is all about. We just took a simple piece, because we thought this is a need of how in the market. And again, we wanted to talk about that one single piece because we want our customers also to use that feature. Because we can see like a few of our customers are not using analytics to the great extent. It has some great information that might give you a hand at times over there, and that's the reason why we picked this topic today, and we wanted to discuss this with you. So with that, we'll open the floor for questions, might be. So you choose you can use the Q&A option, and you can just send your questions my way. And before doing that, I'll be very happy, if you can, please, just give me like 2 polls for me. I'm going to send you a poll on your screen right now. I'll be very happy if you can just, take like 5 seconds per poll and please answer that for me. The number one is coming on your screen right now. Thank you so much for that. Great, guys. So, with that, I'll just leave the floor open for the next like 5 to 10 minutes. I'll be more than happy to answer the questions for you. So please put them through. Let it be your customers. You want to talk about something, or you want some questions answered, or you're an evaluator looking to know more in detail, whatever it might be. Please keep sending them through. And again, you have my email address, on the screen right now. So what you can do is you can either drop me an email if you want to test it out, or get a personalized demo from me. Might be a full-fledged demo for an hour or so, or do a POC, set it up for you, or have some questions, anything it might be. So please drop me an email, or our team, support@auditplus.com, an email, and we'd be more than happy to work with you. So for now, I'll just go on mute, and I'll just, let you guys send your questions on the Q&A option. Just